Welcome back to our verse by verse study on the book of First Thessalonians. I'm so glad you're here. We're in the second chapter in a fascinating passage talking about how Paul approached the Thessalonians, for whom he had great affection, and ministered the gospel. The first 6 verses, which we just completed, talk about what he didn't do in terms of, being fraudulent, using flowery language to get his way, or charging them in some way money that somehow he could profit from his efforts. Then he turns, and this is where we start today, in the first 3 verses of this section, verses 7 through 9, it says what he did do. And it's quite instructive. Verse 7, but we were gentle among you, even as a nurse cherishes her children. The word here, but, is not the usual word for a contrast, conjunction. It's Allah, and really means that what follows, it is contrast, but what follows is preferred over what was in the phrase before the word Allah or but. So what follows is preferred, what Paul did do. He was gentle among them. He did not berate them. He did not abuse them, either physically or by word. He cherished them as a nurse, and this has a sense of uh, caring for like a brood, keeping warm your charge, and cherish the children like a nurse and caring for them. So quite a example here of how we should look at people with whom we're trying to minister. 8, so being affectionately desirous of you, we are willing to have imparted unto you not just the gospel of God, and here the word gospel, good news in the original Greek, evangelos, literally good message, gospel of God only, but also our souls, because you were very dear to us. So he looked upon the people he ministered, and especially the Thessalonians. I think they were even more of a special case. But Paul, as you read all his epistles, had great affection to everybody he wrote. But he imparted his life, his emotions, his time. He did not keep himself separate from those to whom he was trying to teach or preach the gospel. He became involved in their personal lives, trying to help them, love them. Verse 9, for remember, brethren, our great labor and travail, for laboring night and day, because we would not be chargeable to any of you. We preached unto you the gospel of God. So not only was he caring about them personally, but he worked himself and earned money so he would not have to ask them for money. And so he would take, there would be nobody who could raise a complaint that he was there just for his own profit. Again, a very good example for those when we're trying to minister. We're there to serve them, and if indeed possible, not take from them, but bear their burdens. Okay, good start here. We'll continue next time in this section. So we know that Paul cherished and nurtured those to whom he ministered, and he worked day and night not to be a burden to them financially, or perhaps even staying in their house. And maybe those things occurred, but his intention was not to have that as part of his ministry as he came to them. Now, of course, there are people today who work for churches and missions who do take a salary, and that's also appropriate. The church is very flexible. God set it up that way, so there are different models for different people. So if that's the model, people have done that in faith. But those missionaries or pastors should get a salary given freely by the participants, so they don't have to keep coming back and asking for money to the parishioners, and thus being a constant burden to them financially. So again, it depends how you church or mission arranges the financial compensation. Okay, thanks for joining me today. I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Hope you'll join me then.